Hey guys, welcome back to the garden. It is Sunday, August 21st. It's an absolutely beautiful day. Perfect weather, lots of sunshine, nice cool breeze. We are obviously enjoying the nice weather. It is, well, it's getting close to the end of our growing season where we are. The nights are cooling down. The garden is producing like crazy. We've been harvesting pretty much every day, pulling lettuce, zucchini. We've taken a few squash just to, felt like having squash. But yeah, we've done pickles already, dilly beans already, and there is still a lot more produce to come off of this garden. Today we're going to do a, exciting to us, harvest, and we'll do a little bit of a walkabout and see how everything's doing. So let's get going. So the one thing we've never managed to successfully harvest from this garden has been a cauliflower. We've been trying for years and years, and I don't know what it is. Something is always not quite right with those plants. Either they just don't start growing, the weather doesn't agree with them, or the heads don't quite look right. They're either misshapen, oddly colored, or just they just don't look right. They never get to a nice large size. But this year we seem to have I don't know what we did different, but the weather and the timing and everything seems to have aligned properly for these cauliflowers, and they look pretty good. So let's take them out. Some of them aren't quite as large as probably they could be, but better safe than sorry with these kind of vegetables. You wait too long and they turn, and they're just not quite as good. So we're gonna pull everything out of this bed and see what we get. All right, there they are. 2 big bowls of cauliflower. Don't remember how many heads were in here, but look pretty good. Some of them are, a little bit closer to flowering, but that's why I kind of just took them all. But really nice looking cauliflower heads this year. Again, a really tough vegetable to grow. I guess that's kind of why they cost so much in the stores. But again, I don't know what we did differently this year, but it seems to have worked out. These are Apex, I believe the variety is, from Stoke Seeds, and again, not the largest, but again, very tough to get the growing conditions right for those. Cauliflower, broccoli we took a long time ago, so this bed just has to get cleaned up and put away for winter. Our cabbage are doing extremely well. They're just, again, I don't know what it is. We've taken a few already, and I think there's about 4 more heads, really good size heads in this bed. We'll probably be taking them out next week. The Savoy cabbage on the other side need a little bit longer. But should be done in well before the end of the season. And one more little broccoli that's a little bit more growing to do. After a slow start, the melon plants are doing really well. These are cantaloupe melons, the watermelons. The plants are doing well, but no time for a watermelon to form. I think we are gonna give up on the watermelon, but continue to grow these. So that's our largest one, and there are a few that will probably be ready before before the end of the season. This is one of these plants where you wish you had, or at least we wish we had, another month, because you can see the number of flowers that are on these vines. This thing would produce hundreds of melons if it had the time. The mashed potato squash, again, that's these white squash are doing extremely well. This plant is just awesome. We grew it the first time last year, and the taste is awesome. Just tastes like mashed potatoes. They're pretty fantastic. This year they're doing even better. Tons of squash down there. I think we're going to plant a lot more of these squash next year. Zucchini, yeah, still lots coming. Patty pans, we've been pulling these probably every other day. There are new ones ready. So squash and zucchini, all the varieties seem to be doing quite well this year. Blueberries, again, putting on a ton of new growth on these middle plants, but no blueberries from these center plants. With all this new growth, hopefully next year will be a record-breaking harvest for blueberries. This has turned out not to be one of our better choices. It just kind of, these tomatoes just got, well, they kind of got away from us. So I think we are going to strictly be planting mashed potato squash, spaghetti squash, butternut squash in these big 12 by 12 beds. It's not to say we don't have tomatoes. If you look in here, this thing is absolutely jam-packed with them. The only problem is getting in here, getting somewhere to the back there and actually finding them. And we are hoping, we got to go through and start like chopping off and clearing up some of these suckers that aren't actually going to produce. There's no way these are going to be ready in time so that the plant devotes energy to actually ripening up the fruit that is on this plant, because there's probably a fair bit of fruit already set in here. Strawberry plants still doing well. Hopefully next year this bed will be producing. Again, we're just planting up runners. Acorn squash, ooh, really not doing well. These are the ones that we got by accident. They were mislabeled at the nursery, and you know, not a kind of a disappointment. There's a few squash there, but they've already got powdery mildew, and you know, we've never had this kind of squash before, so I don't think this will be, I mean, while it was a nice test, there's another one there. They don't actually produce all that many on these plants. We don't know what they're going to taste like, but just not as resilient when you compare the mashed potato squash, which are beautiful, healthy plants, to these acorn squash, which are already have powdery mildew, and they look like they are going to run out of gas well before the season's over. Kale and Swiss chard, yeah, you just keep taking it. We've just, even that small number of plants, we've been harvesting it non-stop, and it's been keeping up. Beets are doing incredibly well. This is going to be, well, we're hoping this is going to be a record-breaking year for beets. Last year we got about 40 pounds from a bed this size. They were really tiny. Most of them, the vast majority of them, were small. These ones, they're all really big, at least from the parts that we can see. And they are cylindrical, the kind that we planted. So hopefully that size continues further down. They're looking pretty good. We'll see what we get. This one is, that's a good example of the general size. So excited for those. Pickling cucumbers doing okay, not as well as last year. We've taken a few harvests from them, done about six jars of pickles, but yeah, they're just not as tall as last year. Last year they were kind of They're up to here already. The slicing cucumbers are really slow. Not doing anything. We may, as the fall rolls in, the garden gets cleaned up, I think I'm going to relocate this this cage. It's not the best spot for it. Beans, we've been picking beans, processing them, making dilly beans. I can't remember how many jars we have, but we have a lot of jars of dilly beans already. The yellow come first, picking those, and then you can see the green are just starting to get long enough, but there's tons of beans everywhere. And pepper plant's doing really well again. Wishing we had, another month and a half of growing left in front of us. These plants would get a lot taller and would be producing a lot more peppers. You can see still tons of flowers, tons of buds forming, but unfortunately we're running out of time. These are producing huge peppers, red knights. They're just absolutely massive. We've been harvesting for green peppers quite a bit, just getting a little impatient while these turn red, but that one's well on the way to turning red, looking really good. And again, just loaded with really very, very large blocky peppers. Really impressed. So probably going to be our standard bell pepper variety. The seeds are a bit expensive, but they're a hybrid seed, so they do they're probably the most expensive seed that we have, but or that we plant, but really well worth it. We've gone through and picked jalapenos a few times. Still tons of peppers coming. This plant's, every plant is just kind of loaded with peppers. So yeah, lots. The more you pick, the more you get. And again, this plant, they're starting to shoot up quite a bit, put out lots of new buds. But again, they're going to be unfortunately going to be cut short with our season. We can't really start them any earlier inside. They just get pot bound, and we just don't have the room. But we're still getting quite a good crop. Still quite happy with the pepper crop this year. All right, that's it from us. Just got to make sure we close up our beds. Still got some savoy and some cabbage in here. Leave them open for one night, and well, the bugs will take over. So yeah, close this up, and that'll be it for us. We will see you next week.